All right, folks, very good. Happy Saturday, beautiful morning here. I believe it's the 29th of May. It's about 9:30 a.m. Um, Hope everybody's doing okay. A very happy and respectful Memorial Day weekend to everyone. Okay, I just finished, filled you in the ground prep, planting vids, and all that other stuff, but I'm here to show you the final product. It's just the way it kind of works sometimes. Um, okay, so we're in the section that we call behind the barn. From here forward, though, we're calling this area the calving yard. Let's start from the beginning. Yeah, I know these are a disaster. I'll be doing something with them sooner or later. Let's start from the beginning. 2 years ago, it wasn't a very pleasant spring. Late snow, lots of moisture, mud, everything else. There was no choice, absolute no choice, but to move the cattle. Otherwise, I'd been staring at a pile of dead or dying calves. So it broke my little heart because this has always been a piece of sacred grazing ground. It broke my little heart, but I opened up this fence, put some round bales out here, and that year, 2 years ago, all calving was done here. It's a perfect scenario. It's basically one big giant knoll that stays extremely dry. There's no other way to put it. Anyway, it was the best, let's just say best accident that ever happened. This will continue to be my calving yard now. It'll be opened up in the spring right before calves start coming. Well, in the last couple of years, it's been beat to hell. Now, that's not the end of the world, but I decided this year I wanted to put a little stability, maybe even a root system back into it, and in the same token, add in some forage for grazing. So, yesterday morning, the cows all got kicked out of here with the calves, and they all got kicked into the cow yard. This is all closed off to them. They cannot get in here. And I promised myself the same day that they got kicked out of here is the same day that I need to start this, because it's only got anywhere from 31 to 33 days before the cows have to come back in here again to not only graze this off in the grass that's beyond that, but then of course what I call the Couthus square back there, which is almost 6 days of feeding. So anyway, I followed my own rules. I did it. I came in here yesterday after all morning chores and everything. I ended up double disking it, north to south and then east to west to break it up. And then came in with the Mulcher with drags down. And the Mulcher just does just such a fantastic job. Before I did all that nonsense, though, I did my absolute best to get rid of the old bale ring and hay. You can see a lot of it out here. I did my best without spending multiple hours on cleanup. I think this will be just fine. Double disced it, came in with the Mulcher with the drags down, obviously. Broke it up all nice. I actually wasn't going to plant this till today, this morning. But I had a wild burr up my you-know-what last evening. I didn't really have any plans or anything to do, which I'm completely fine with on a Friday evening. Well, sometimes. I hooked up to the planter, filled it, and I'm going to tell you what's in here. You're going to laugh your butt off. And I planted last night. I got done just before dark set in. And then, of course, this morning, when the ground temperature, we'll just say warmed up just a little bit with the sun beating down, I came in here with the Mulcher again with different settings to just roll and pack the ground. So if you follow the channel, you know that I got a new to me 12-foot planter this spring. Well, where I failed but not without trying, is picking up a cultipacker, a packer, roller, whatever you want to call them. Of course, I'm obviously looking for a 12-foot, preferably carded. Can't find one. I couldn't find one. It wasn't for the lack of trying. We're talking multiple states. Couldn't find one that was in my price range. You know, if I put a lot of grains in and did a lot of planting a year, I'd go the extra mile, but I don't. So everything that I was seeing, and I'll admit that I started looking a little bit late in the year, everything I started seeing was going for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and that's just not justifiable. So I've got a good plan B here, which is not very conventional. Change the settings on the Mulcher and just use the packers to pack the seed in the ground, in the soil, for the lack of better words. Sometimes you just have to use what you have, and that's what I did. You're looking at the cow yard here. I can almost assume that you can see the cattle. They started grazing paddock number 1. That got opened up this morning to them, and holy mackerel. Boy, you'd have better gotten out of the way real quick. These girls are happy. They're doing real good. We're yet to take a nice little look at the cattle in paddock number 1. And I'll give you a nice little close-up of the cattle and calves here in a very short time to come. Okay, so what did I plant in here? Oh my God. If anybody out there doesn't know what poor man's beef stew is, well, you've been very lucky your entire life. Poor man's beef stew, and don't think that I don't know what that means. Trust me. Is taking everything but the kitchen sink, throwing it in a pot or a pan, mixing it up, and hoping like hell it tastes real good and it lasts about 3, 4, 5 meals, because it's possibly all that you have. Trust me. All right, so even though this piece of ground is important to me, I could barely give a damn what's in here, as long as if it's forageable to the cattle and provides a little bit of a root system. Folks, there's bin oats in here, there's cleaned oats in here, there's barley, treated barley in here, there's 10 pounds of sorghum in here. There is, and then I filled up the cedar boxes a little bit. There's some alfalfa in here. There's some timothy in here. There's some clover. I bought a smaller bag of a premix that the mill makes up as well, with a whole bunch of other stuff that's in there. Some of Kentucky bluegrass is in there. Anyway, we got ourselves one hell of a poor man's beef stew that went into here, and we'll just see what it comes up as. Remember, it's got 31 to 33 days. So, folks, the reason for all that nonsense is I used what I had. What's been left over after the last couple of years of planting. I've had a collection of well-kept leftover seed, not much of hardly anything, you know, a little bit of barley, a little bit of oats, and, you know, like I said, about 10 pounds of sorghum. and kind of mixed it all together, and we'll see what it does. So it's all just about putting a little bit of life back into this ground that the cattle naturally really beat up really badly. And of course, it's in the spring of the year, so that's going to happen. I don't see doing this every year. That's a little excessive. I've had a little extra time this year, which is such a funny word, time. Because of our early spring, the lack thereof of a lot of planting this year for me, there wasn't a whole lot. So I was proud to work this up this year. I see this being an every other year deal of putting a life back into this calving yard. I almost say that it's probably a must, just to keep it in good shape. Of course, this is the other half of this behind the barn property here. Of course, you see the grass. And then I can only assume you can see the hunting blind and that fence line. That's Kuthas, which the cattle spent 6 days back there. They probably could have spent 7. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And we'll just see what this looks like in time to come. As long as it's green, I don't care. All right, that's about it, folks. I got my butt going really early this morning. It's one of those mornings where, I don't know, wake up well before the alarm clock and just start running. I got a lot on my plate today, though. A lot of upkeep, putaways, cleaning, and just, yeah, speaking the obvious, everybody's got it. Well, not everybody, but whatever, teach their own. So that's it. Hope you enjoy what you're looking at here. We'll see what happens, and we'll come up with a cattle video here in a short time to come. Happy Saturday morning. We'll talk to you sooner than later.